What if the person you resent the most isn't the one suffering? What if every grudge you hold quietly reshapes your own life? In a quiet Midwestern town, where routines rarely changed and people masked their struggles behind polite smiles, lived Eleanor Hayes. She was known in her office as disciplined, reliable, and exceptionally precise, a senior operations analyst who rarely made mistakes. On the surface, she had everything under control, but inside, something was slowly unraveling. That unraveling had a name: Richard Coleman. Richard was her supervisor. He wasn't cruel or unfair, but he was exacting. He expected high standards, noticed small errors, and rarely softened his tone. To some, he was simply professional. To Eleanor, he felt unbearable. Every correction felt like a personal attack. Every email sounded cold. Every meeting left her feeling diminished. At first, she tried to ignore it. Then she started replaying conversations in her head. Then she began anticipating criticism before it even came. And eventually, her frustration turned into quiet hostility, something she carried with her everywhere. Her days became mechanical. She did her work, met her deadlines, and maintained her reputation. But internally, she was somewhere else, reliving moments, imagining confrontations, building arguments she would never say out loud. At night, sitting alone in her apartment, the silence only made things louder. Her thoughts grew sharper, more intense. She started imagining ways to win, ways to make Richard feel what she felt. But imagination wasn't enough anymore. She wanted something real, something final. One evening, after a particularly tense performance review, Eleanor sat by her kitchen window, staring into the dark. And for the first time, a dangerous clarity settled in her mind. What if she could bring him down slowly, without anyone ever knowing? The thought disturbed her, but it also gave her a strange sense of control she hadn't felt in months. A few days later, she found herself driving to a small wellness clinic on the outskirts of town. It was run by Dr. Adrian Voss, a man known for his unconventional approach and quiet insight. When she sat across from him, she didn't hide behind politeness. "I need something," she said, her voice steady but tense. "Something that works over time." Without raising suspicion, Dr. Voss didn't react immediately. He studied her expression, as if trying to understand more than just her words. "And what result are you hoping for?" he asked calmly. Eleanor hesitated, then answered with unsettling honesty. "I want someone out of my life, permanently." There was a long pause. Then, instead of refusing or questioning her further, Dr. Voss reached into a drawer and placed a small vial on the table. "I can give you something," he said, "but it only works if you follow one condition." Eleanor leaned forward slightly. "What condition?" "You must change your behavior toward this person completely," he said. "Be respectful, cooperative, even supportive. Build trust. If you don't, you risk drawing attention." The instruction felt almost absurd. Kindness was the last thing she wanted to offer, but the logic behind it was clear. If she wanted her plan to succeed, she had to appear harmless. She agreed. The next morning, something shifted, not in how she felt, but in how she acted. For the first time, she greeted Richard without tension. "Good morning, Mr. Coleman." He looked up, slightly surprised. "Good morning, Eleanor." Throughout the day, she stayed composed. She listened carefully in meetings instead of reacting defensively. She asked clarifying questions instead of silently resisting. She even offered help where she normally would have stayed distant. And that evening, she followed the ritual. A small amount of the powder into her tea.